Okay. Well, I am Dr. Daryl Peterkin. I am the NRHC president, and I'm also the assistant dean for student success in the College of Liberal Arts at Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland. And we are really excited that all of you are going to be joining us in a couple of months in Pittsburgh for our annual conference. And for those of you who may be unsure, this is the Art Gallery submission prep session. So I'm going to be going through a few things, and then I'm going to open it up to your questions. So how does that sound? Okay.
Sounds great.
Oh, yes, go ahead, please.
Oh, no, I was saying it sounds great. Sorry.
All right, I'm trying to do something about the echo, but I'm not sure I can. Let's see. All right, how's that? Oh, good, much better. Okay, well, has anyone had a chance to look at the conference website? It's okay if you haven't, but essentially the art gallery submission part of the conference, I think, is one of the most broad and creative that we offer, because you can do any kind of art, digital art, visual art, any kind of medium you like to work with. And we showcase that art in a broad as possible showcase. It does not have to exactly mesh with the topic of the conference. If you do, certainly that is wonderful. But if you just want to expose us to your creativity, that is fine as well. Now, as we describe it, and I'm taking this directly from the conference website, artwork can include many genres: drawing, painting, sculpture, photography, digital art, poetry. Essentially, we're open for anything. And the application requires you to provide the following information about your artwork: a description of the piece and how it relates to the conference theme. But again, that can be very broad in terms of how it relates to the theme. How big your piece is going to be, and what type of artwork it is. And I can tell, if any of you were with us in Philadelphia last year, you may recall that the art gallery display space was outside of the sort of main meeting rooms. And so people could mill about and look at different pieces and really have a good conversation about the art. And we're hoping to have something similar in Pittsburgh. So those are the basics for getting things together. So I'm happy to entertain any questions that you might have.
I have one actually. So I created an art actually, so like it's not all my work per se, but like some of my work was featured in, but I was the digital curator. Would I be able to like submit photos that I took of the artwork?
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble understanding your question because of the audio.
Can you hear me now?
Am I reverberating to you?
You're not now.
Okay. I'm getting a lot of feedback here.
How about now? I can hear you. I can hear you. It's muted.
How's that?
I can hear you now.
And what was your question?
So I actually created an architecture like, but I between like some photos that I took of the work that I created for my show. Because I created a show for Black artists, like it was other artists that someone wrote to me that was already as returned to them already. I just put it in the chat.
Hold on one second. When I had to switch the audio, uh, I'm going to turn it. I'm going to change my settings, and then could you repeat your question? Just give me a moment. I'm sorry, I missed your question again. Oh, I thank you for putting your question in the chat. I don't see any problem with your submitting the photographs.
Okay.
As long as I'm assuming, of course, you're going to be giving credit to the original artist.
Yes, of course.
Okay. But yes, I think that's perfectly acceptable.
Okay.
So I also have another question. So what I'm submitting is a collection of photos that I've taken myself too. Should I bring it in like a physical poster, or should I like make like a PowerPoint or like a digital creation and like send it to you guys, or how would it be presented on the day of?
Well, if I understood your question, I'm getting some reverberating feedback. If I understood you correctly, you wanted to know if you should submit your artwork as a poster or a PowerPoint form. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, either one would be acceptable. With regard to the PowerPoint, I'm guessing that you would have to have a laptop or a tablet to make that presentation. There probably won't be a presentation screen in the corridor that we may be using for this. We're still finalizing the space that we will be using for the display, but I would not really think that we would have a screen on which you can display in that regard. But if you have a laptop or what have you that you want to broadcast your PowerPoint, you certainly may. But the easiest thing might be the poster.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. I can't emphasize enough that what we really are looking forward to is just the full expression of your creativity. I see a question in the chat. How much art are we allowed to bring? Well, you can submit multiple pieces. Whether or not all of them will be accepted, I cannot say, but you can make as many submissions as you would like. Now, you're not required to submit a proposal as you would be if you were submitting a paper, but it might be helpful in terms of as we review the art pieces that have been submitted, and there may be some themes that we could emphasize, or just to have an idea of where everything would fit in the gallery space.
So in regards to pieces that have been submitted previous to this meeting, towards like the original deadline, um, if we have a physical piece that we have been accepted, how do we bring it? Do you guys just keep the picture and it's being put up, or do we bring it with us and we give it to you, like, or do we mail it to you guys? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Certainly, with your submission, excuse me. What we're asking for is basically a description how big it's going to be and the type of artwork. Let's say your piece is a 2 foot by 3 foot poster. We don't ask you to send us the poster for review, but a photograph or some other image of it would be helpful. So when you, in terms of the actual display, you would bring that item with you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Actually, going off of that, I submitted my like proposal like a couple months ago. That was just like a really rough. I wrote like a little paragraph and I just gave a doc of like all my pictures. But I didn't like specify how I was gonna bring it in person. Is that okay?
All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change my audio settings. Give me a second or two to do that. Could you repeat your question? I really couldn't understand it. So just give me a moment.
Hi, so I submitted my proposal a couple months ago. Like I think it was due in November or December or something. And so I submitted it then, but I did not specify like how I'm gonna bring it in person. I just wrote like a really like rough draft and I submitted just a couple of my pictures that I was interested in bringing.
So you want to know if we require you to be more specific about the format you're submitting?
Yes.
Well, certainly if you have a better idea now of what that would be, we would like to know. But it is entirely possible. We have had individuals who have changed the medium that they're going to be using between the time of the original submission and the actual presentation. And that's perfectly fine. As soon as you do have that information, we'd like to know just so that we have it in our records.
Okay, so once I decide that, should I go back onto the proposal and edit it?
I think just an email to us would be sufficient.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is anyone thinking of doing sculpture? I can say that in my experience over the last few years, most of the submissions have been either photographs or drawings of some kind. And we have had submissions of poetry and let's see, I think some paintings as well. Have any of you presented at NRHC before?
So this is my first time doing this, and I was actually wondering how exactly the gallery um, would go. So is it more so an open? You mentioned like mulling around where the pieces are kind of hung up on the outsides of the meeting places. So it's not like an art gallery where there's one house for everything to hang up on the walls. Are we doing like presentations as artists to talk about our work, or is it just up for everybody to kind of look and converse about?
A great question. What we have done in the past is that we have had sort of an open area with tables and sort of easels that people can mount their artworks. And they have stood beside them and talked about their art with visitors, people who've come by. So it's not like a traditional panel and where, for instance, uh, each person would say something about his or her artwork. It is more of a free-flowing event.
Ah, I see. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mhm. I will say that it would certainly be helpful if you did have a few lines or what have you, what you wanted to say, what you wanted the viewer to come away with. So in that regard, you may have something short that you would like to prepare. But again, it's not like the traditional panel that you might be familiar with.
Awesome.
Oh, and thank you, by the way, for the suggestion of putting the questions in the chat. It has been very helpful. And again, I apologize for the technical issue.
No problem.
And I can't emphasize enough what really makes the NRHC conferences unique is the focus upon student work. And so, your art gallery submissions, your panel presentations, all of the things that are available for you to do are really focused on your research, your creativity, and how you express yourself. So this is, for me at least, this is one of the most exciting parts, is because I don't often see the creative side of students, of so many students at once. So this is something that I do look forward to.
I asked it in the chat, but what's the art panel like? And I was told there's a difference between the art display and the art panel.
This is a tradition. Well, this is a display. The pieces are arrayed on tables in whatever space we adopt for it. And it's not like a traditional academic panel. We're not going to ask you to discuss the significance of your work in the context of other artistic pieces of expression. As I said, it might be helpful for you to have a prepared piece that you might want a few sentences or so. And you are certainly absolutely encouraged, if you wish to do this. If you have, for instance, a photograph, if you have a paragraph or something mounted next to it that explains why you took it, what its significance is, and so forth. But again, it's not going to be a traditional panel where people are sitting in an audience asking you questions. So I would say in some regards, it's rather like a poster session in that you're in an open area, people come in and stop at what looks interesting to them and ask you questions. Good question. There's a question in the chat about, do you need to submit every piece of art that you intend to use? We realized that when you submitted your original proposal, you may not have had every piece done, and that was fine. And that was fine. If you have a better idea of what you're going to be submitting, we would like just an update when you're ready to give us one. Let's say you submitted one piece, but you show up at the conference with 3. We're not going to say, oh no, you can only display the one. But again, we just want to know in terms of how we plan the size of the space, in as much as you can tell us. You're quite well. And again, I say again, this is what makes this particular aspect of the conference a little more dynamic, because pieces of art evolve over time. What you might have submitted in November, December will change, and that's okay. We expect that in creative endeavors, and you may even want to let's say you're working on a drawing and the drawing has changed over time. You may want to, for instance, submit the drawing at different stages of development. That what you thought about in December is not what you're thinking about in March, April. So yeah, the creative evolution is something that we would be fine with.
I know this is a similar question, but I received an email asking about the difference between the art gallery and the art panel. So can you explain the difference?
The art gallery is simply that. It is a display space. If there is a panel, it may be individuals talking about a particular aspect of art or a particular type of art. But this area, the art gallery submission is not that. It is simply a display space. So if you're interested in more of the academic exploration of your art, panel may be the way you wish to go. And in fact, just give me a moment. I'm going to look up a couple things. Would you mind telling me? Oh my. Hopefully that's better. Okay. All right, I'm seeing a couple of questions here about the art panel. Oh my. Oh dear, I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure what's happening. So there are a couple of questions here about the art panel. So I am. Now, I'm curious, where you all find this information about the art panel? When I'm looking on our web conference website about the presentation formats, I don't see art panel. So does anyone know what again, can anyone show me where you got this information about the art panel?
I'm not entirely sure. I've never heard anything. I know that when I was looking at the submissions from my professor, it was told to me that there would be an art section of it, which I submitted to, but I didn't see any two differences. I just saw that there was an art submission, so I'm not really sure.
Okay, yes, there's a submission for the art gallery, and there is and there's also a performing arts and film showcase, but that again, that is different from the art gallery.
Right.
So again, there's nothing like an academic panel, paper presentations for the art gallery. Yes, that's quite an observation. I think one of the individuals is me. I've muted myself on however else I may be here. So hopefully that's a little better. And so I would dispense with the notion of an art panel. It is an art gallery submission and a film and a performing arts show space.
I think I was asked in regard to, because I submitted a proposal for both the art gallery and a round table. And I was asked whether I wanted to do the art panel or the round table. So it's a little so she made it sound like the art panel was something different from the art gallery. It was something in addition to it.
I see.
On Saturday, that's what Kat said. So I was just trying to find more of a distinction what the art like the panel and like entails. My art piece is creative writing based.
All right, I see what you're asking here. I'm taking a look at the sort of conference at a glance. So the student art show, which is what we are talking about here, would be on Friday night from 6 to 7:15. And I'm not seeing anything specific related to art at a round table or anything of that nature. Now, that doesn't mean that one doesn't exist. But in terms of what we're discussing here, that would be a separate event. There's a question about whether there'll be information on how to drop off our work. Well, again, you will most likely set up your work the day of. We won't be storing student artwork. So I certainly advise making it as portable as possible. Are there any other questions about Pittsburgh, or have you, if you haven't had a chance to do so, on the conference website is, if you click on the 2023 conference, one of the things in the drop down is the conference at a glance. Now that might change the closer we get to the conference, but it gives you sort of a roadmap of how each day will be going. And take note as well, particularly of the student activities that we are planning. There's a gala, there's a student meet and greet and so forth. So we do hope that you'll take advantage of the opportunity to network. Any other questions?
Yes. So do you know like the timing of this? Do you know how long? I didn't get like the schedule or anything, so I'm assuming we'll be presenting and then like in the evening it's gonna be we're gonna be attending other people's presentations or
Well, the event is scheduled for Friday the 31st from 6 to 7:15. Does that answer your question?
Sorry, can you say that one more time? Event is scheduled when?
Friday, the 31st of March,
Hmm.
from 6 p.m. to 7:15 p.m.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to see if I can get the link to the conference at a glance page, and I'll put it in the chat and you can copy it. One second. Okay, it's in the chat right now. All right, well, please do keep us posted on what your submissions are going to be. As I say, this is one of the really exciting parts of the conference, that we get to see a side of you that you probably wouldn't otherwise. So we're really looking forward to it. And if you have friends and colleagues who are filmmakers or screenwriters, anything of that nature, the Fine Arts and Film Showcase is for them. And I believe one of my colleagues has already done a prep session on that. And all of these sessions are going to be available on the NRHC YouTube channel. So if there's another area you're interested in considering a submission for, you can check those out.
Thank you so much. That actually helped me a lot.
Oh, you're quite welcome. You're quite welcome. And if you have any other questions, you have the email for the NRHC general email, and you send in your question, and we'll find someone on the executive board who can help you. And your director or advisor can do that as well. Okay. If there are no more questions, I want to thank you all for your time meeting with us this evening. And we're really looking forward to seeing what you're going to be doing at the conference. So look forward to seeing you in March.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Have a pleasant evening, and good luck with your work.
Thank you.